Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for the PlayStation 2 is kind of a weird case. The game was actually released first on the PSP back in October, so it's really kind of the first case of a game going from the PSP to the PlayStation 2. There haven't really been too many changes made, so if you've played the PSP version of the game, you're pretty much done. You don't need to go back and play this PS2 version. But if you missed out on the PSP game, you'll find a lot of that game's flavor and stuff on the PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, when you can actually compare it directly to games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and the other main GTA games, this game's problems stand out pretty dramatically. Of course, all that's offset by a budget price, so that helps. Liberty City Stories tells the story of a guy named Tony Cipriani. He's your typical kind of mobster, mid-level guy working for the Leones. And as you go, you defend the Leone crime family from all comers. You're basically taking on a lot of different tasks in typical Grand Theft Auto style fashion. The missions, however, were originally designed for the PSP, and they're actually a lot shorter than what you've come to expect from the more recent Grand Theft Auto games. You won't find these big, epic, multi-part missions here. It's generally, pick up a car, drive it someplace, go kill a guy, get his phone, bring it back to somewhere else. Real kind of basic stuff. The other big problem with Liberty City Stories actually has nothing to do with its roots as a PSP game, but more has to do with its roots as kind of a side story to the main GTA games. You really don't get the feeling that as much attention was paid to putting the characters into interesting situations, and the game wasn't really written with a whole lot of depth to it. So the characters aren't really likable, they aren't really that interesting, and the story just kind of goes nowhere. There are a few blown chances here and there. Eventually you kind of become a made man and go rise through the ranks in the mafia. But this is just treated with like a cutscene that just kind of fades out and fades back up with you wearing different clothes. It's not going as far as you would expect like a major event in the main character's life to go. As a port from the PSP to the PlayStation 2, Liberty City Stories on the PS2 is a really murky, kind of dark-looking game. It might have a longer draw distance than the PSP version did, but at the same time, like the character models and stuff like that really are pretty low poly. It's really not that impressive looking. The frame rate hitches up in a lot of situations as well, so it's not a very good-looking game on top of all that. The sound effects in the game are basically what you would expect from GTA. You get the typical gunfire and police helicopter noises and things like that. The game's characters all speak with real voices. You might not recognize much of the cast from other things, like they've had this kind of running trend where they're bringing in a lot of pop culture names and stuff for parts in GTA games. This one's really bare bones. In much the same way, there aren't a whole lot of licensed songs on the soundtrack either. They just kind of went for trying to make songs that sound like 1998 as opposed to actually going out and getting all the really bad boy band stuff that was around in that time, which would have been really good driving around and running over cops music. All things considered, GTA Liberty City Stories is a good game, and it's largely due to its budget price. That really helps you overlook a lot of the game's problems. But again, if you've played it on the PSP, there's really no need to go back to it. This is effectively the same game with the multiplayer stuff stripped out. But if you can set your expectations properly and not expect a big, epic GTA-like adventure, and you're looking for more GTA-style action, Liberty City Stories has exactly that.
Go!